You didn't just love them because of who they were. You loved them because they awakened a part of you that you had long buried. The part that believed if you could love someone hard enough, you could finally become enough. You thought this love would fix something. Woo. And in some twisted subconscious way, it was never about them. It was about your wound, about the ache left behind by your first emotional injury. It was about your unspoken belief that love must be earned. Carl Jung taught us that our psyche is a battlefield of opposites. The conscious and the unconscious, the persona and the shadow. And love, the most tender of human experiences, becomes the stage where these hidden wars play out. They reminded you of something, of someone. Maybe it was your mother's distant gaze, or your father's conditional affection. Maybe it was that first friend who left without explanation, and when you met them, your heart whispered, "This is my chance to finally feel seen." But the truth is, you were projecting. You didn't see them. You saw a mirror. You saw a mirror. And you didn't fall in love with their soul. You fell into a dance with your shadow. Carl Jung once said, "We do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. That darkness is not always loud. Often it is silent, quietly shaping the way we love, the way we crave, and the way we hurt, and the way we hurt." It is the belief that you're not lovable unless you're useful, that your worth must be proven, not felt. So you loved from that place, from the ache, from the emptiness. You believed that if you gave everything, you would finally be chosen. But love, when rooted in fear, becomes sacrifice. And what you sacrificed was yourself. When they left, as they often do, you didn't just lose a person. You lost your illusion of healing. You weren't mourning the end of the relationship. You were mourning the part of you that believed this time would be different. That this time, love would stay. Love would stay. That this time, the emptiness would finally be filled. But here's the secret Jung pointed to again and again. Heartbreak isn't punishment. It's a passage. A painful one, yes, but a necessary threshold. Heartbreak breaks you open, and in that breaking, something greater can enter. Consciousness, clarity, courage, because when someone leaves, they don't take your soul with them. They expose how much of your soul you handed over. The grief you feel isn't just for them. It's for the parts of yourself you abandoned to keep them close. The opinions you silenced. The boundaries you blurred. The truths you swallowed just to stay enougher in their eyes. Carl Jung believed in the process of individuation, the sacred journey of becoming whole by integrating every fractured part of ourselves, not by rejecting the past, but by understanding it. So, what if your heartbreak wasn't the end of something, but the beginning? What if being left was the universe's way of guiding you back to yourself? The self that you lost while chasing someone else's love. The self that was quieted every time you said yes when you meant a no. The self that was desperate for validation, so much so that it forgot its own worth. You see, when you loved them more than you loved yourself, you were really trying to rewrite your own story. A story where you were finally chosen, valued, and kept. But here's the paradox. The moment you need love the most is the moment you must give it to yourself first. Because until you do, every relationship will be a reenactment of the wound, not a healing from it. The pain you carry is sacred. It's not a sign that you failed, but a sign that you felt deeply. And feeling deeply is not weakness, it's strength. It means your heart is still alive, still beating, still hoping. So let yourself grieve, let yourself cry for the love that couldn't hold you. But don't stop there. But don't stop there. Let that grief become a teacher. Let it show you where you abandoned yourself. Let it teach you how to return. You loved them more than you loved yourself, not because you were broken, but because you were human. Because you believed that love could save you. And in a way, it can, but not when it comes from someone else. The love that heals is the love that rises from within. The love that says, even if you leave me, I will not leave myself. Carl Jung reminds us that we are not meant to stay in the shadows. We are meant to bring them into the light. And one of the deepest shadows we carry is the belief that we are unworthy of unconditional love. That belief turns relationships into performance stages. You become an actor, wearing masks, reciting lines, hoping your audience doesn't walk out. But real love, the kind that liberates, begins when you take off the mask and say, this is who I am. It's terrifying. But it's also the only way to be seen. Your past relationships were not failures. They were mirrors. They showed you who you pretended to be, who you thought you needed to become to be loved. And now you get to choose something different. Now you get to stand in your truth and say, I am enough without proving. I am worthy without performing. This is what Jung meant when he spoke of individuation. Not perfection, but integration. Not approval, but awareness. Awareness. You don't need to be more lovable. You need to believe that you already are. And once you start believing that, truly believing, everything changes. You no longer chase people who don't see you because you see yourself. You no longer beg for scraps of affection because you've learned to feed your own soul. You stop confusing attention for love. You stop mistaking intensity for intimacy, and most importantly, you stop rewriting your worth based on someone else's inability to love you. Jung's work taught us that we attract not who we want, but who we are. So if you are still carrying unhealed wounds, you will meet others who mirror that pain. Fukizize. It is not a punishment. It is an invitation to go inward. To ask, why do I? This is the transformation Jung speaks of. Not escaping your pain, but alchemizing it. Turning heartbreak into insight. Turning tears into awareness. Turning your deepest fear of being unlovable into your most powerful truth, that you are already worthy simply because you exist. Merely because you exist. You no longer fall in love hoping to be completed. You love from a place of fullness. You no longer tolerate emotional crumbs because you've learned to nourish yourself. And those who come into your life now, they will feel the difference. They will not find someone desperate to be chosen. Fine. They will find someone who has already chosen themselves. Carl Jung reminds us that the most dangerous lie we tell is the one we tell ourselves. That we must become someone else to be loved. That we must shrink, shift, or soften who we are to remain acceptable. But the truth is, love that costs you your truth is not love. Love that demands your silence is not sacred. Real love, soul love, begins where performance ends. So, take this moment not as a reflection of your failure, but of your becoming. You loved them more than you loved yourself, yes. But now you know better. Now you return to yourself not in shame, but in strength.